Darren, why are you partnering with Crown Royal?
You know, Keith, I've always loved Crown Royal, and I wanted to partner with them because I believe the water break campaign is an important one. I've dedicated my entire football career to staying in the game, and now I'm excited to support Crown Royal and spreading their message of drinking moderately, hydrating responsibly, Keith. I think that's the key is hydrating responsibly and supporting their local communities or our local communities with this football season. So that's the reason I'm partnering. And the one thing I wanted to get across is ahead of the Cowboys games this Sunday, Crown Royal will be recognizing some people who deserve a crown and generously giving back to the Dallas community. I may or may not stop by and say hello, but just trust me, the surprise will be there this Sunday, and I can't wait for this week's game.
What does it say, whether it's through Crown Royal or other ventures, your commitment to the community and giving back, Darren?
Well, I always feel like, since I was a player, the one thing that I've really been inspired by the Jones family is their sense of community. And it didn't matter, what organization it was. It was always giving and giving back to the community and alerting and giving information and resources as well. And that's the reason why I joined in this partnership with Crown Royal, because I understand that, people are going to have drinks. And at the same time, the reason why I wanted to partner with Crown Royal is because they're enlightening folks on hydrating themselves, making sure they drink responsibly, enjoy themselves at the same time. But just understand, if you drink responsibly and you hydrate yourself, you can have a much better time and with your family and friends. So hydrate, hydrate, hydrate.
Darren, talking about you and your journey for a little bit, if I'm not mistaken, your story is one that Cowboys fans know and love, and we know it well. If I'm not mistaken, you were raised by a single mom in the Arizona area, and you give a lot of credit to the Boys and Girls Clubs. How much did your upbringing form you into the man you've become?
Man, Keith, I was raised by my mom with 4 kids in the inner city, and my mother was the one who set the foundation for the family. And how she did that was she worked 2 jobs, but she kept us busy. And being busy was we were involved in the church, and I'm still involved in the church community. We played in at the YMCA, the boys club. If the ball rolled, we were on the court, and that's how she kept us off the streets and away from the drugs and away from, all the, the crime and those type of things, the gangs and whatnot. So, she was that foundation. And through that process, man, we always found ways, even though we didn't have a lot, we always found ways to serve on Thanksgiving, Christmas. And it wasn't just the holidays. It was just the regular days. My mom was a servant, man. She just had a servant heart, and it just rubbed off. And it wasn't just me. It was, the rest of the family. She just rubbed off on the rest of the family. So trying to have that servant heart, trying to give back. And when I first got to Dallas, one of the first persons I met through the process was Charlotte Jones. So what does Charlotte Jones do for the organization? She's face to face with all these, whether it be the charities, whether it be Salvation Army, Make-A-Wish Foundation. She was always giving back, and I just teamed up. She found me, I found her, and we just continue to serve together.
The Cowboys found you. You were a linebacker by trade, and you run this 4.3, 840-yard dash, and they find you, and they want to turn you into a safety. Did you know you were on the cusp of greatness when the Cowboys drafted you, Darren?
No, I didn't know I was on the cusp of greatness. I was just trying to make the team as a second-round pick. So I didn't know exactly where I fit. And you just mentioned, I was what we called a tweener. I played linebacker. Now I was transitioning to safety. And there was a lot of uncertainties on if I could make that switch. Heck, personally, I didn't know if I could make the switch because I was so accustomed to playing close to the line of scrimmage as a linebacker. Now I had to make the transition to playing a safety, which was deeper and the last resort in the back there. So, I made the transition, and thank God I had Dave Campbell in my corner, Mike Zimmer in my corner, Jimmy Johnson, because they taught me through my first year of not being a starter, but that first year of being the nickel guy, covering tight ends, covering slot receivers. They really sharpened my game for the rest of my career in that first year, because they didn't start me at that safety position, but they made me do all the little things to be a better football player. And in the end, for 13 years, I'm covering slot receivers, and I am the nickel guy. I'm matching up against the Tony Gonzalez and whoever the number one tight end is, because of my cover skills. And I think that's what made me a better football player. And I think it allowed us to be more versatile as a defense and be a Super Bowl championship team because of the versatility that most of the players had.
So you win a Super Bowl as a rookie, you come back your second year, you break your forearm, and yet you elect to play the entire season. Why?
Yeah. Because that's what we do as football players. I mean, that's all I know. And I've been playing football, Keith, since I was 7 years old. And, I broke my arm in the preseason, one of the first preseason games. And I sat out for the next 3 weeks of the preseason. They basically put a cast on it. And I asked them, well, if the cast is on it, can I play? And they said, sure. And I said, well, we're playing. So my second year in the league, the entire season, I was known as the club guy. So I had this big club on my arm. And I would even have other coaches, the Packers coaches, come up and say, hey, club guy. I heard it a million times. But it was just, at that time, and even now, I mean, I wasn't alone. I had so many guys that I played with, Emmitt Smiths of the world, who had dislocated shoulder, continue to play in games. Troy Aikman, who had multiple injuries at the same time, continue to play in games. So it was just what we did. And it's still, to this day, there are, players. DeMarcus Lawrence, I know, is playing with a shoulder separation week in and week out. He's still out there. It's just what you do as a football player.
Darren, you retire in 2004. You're the last member of the Cowboys dynasty to depart. What were those emotions like?
It was hard. Keith, I can tell you it was really hard. I had so much success early in my career, and to watch us go through some of I call it the dead years, those 5 and 11 years, was really hard. Because I was, there was a standard, and that standard was winning championships, not just winning the NFC East, not winning the NFC Championship. The standard was Super Bowl or bust. And I never got back. And it wasn't until Bill Parcells came in with the organization that things started to change. And I started to see the light. Like, this team can get back to being a championship team. And in my second year with Bill Parcells, I ended up having a major back injury and not getting there. But I just, we had some rough years at the back end of that, but I just felt like that this team, I could never imagine, Keith, that this team, it's been 25 years since this team has been back. There's no way this organization should not have been back to the Super Bowl and at least have won at least one Super Bowl.
Since you're the last member of the dynasty to retire, can we blame this drought on you?
No. Look, there's so many reasons. I can't tell you how many times this team has had, or this organization has had, teams that were capable. Tony Romo was the starting quarterback for a number of those years where they were loaded with talent and had opportunity after opportunity, winning the NFC East and had opportunities to move on, and they just didn't get it done, which was a surprise, because I felt like that there were at least 3 teams within those 2000s when Parcells was here, Wade Phillips was here, even with Jason Garrett early on, where they had ample opportunity. They had the personnel to do so. But at any given time, we all know this. You could have the best team, the best personnel, but on any given Sunday, you have to play your best football. And they just didn't play their best or play good enough, and they didn't get there.
Darren, you're a 5-time Pro Bowler, 4-time first-team All-Pro. You're one of only 2 players from that dynasty defensively to be in the Ring of Honor, Charles Haley being the other.
Yeah.
Why aren't you in the Hall of Fame, man? And I know you get this question a lot, but why aren't you in the Hall of Fame? Because everybody everybody knows you deserve to be.
Yeah. Well, hey, Keith, it's just not my time, evidently. I mean, I don't know. I can't answer that question. That's not up to me. That's up to the writers to determine who goes in to the Hall of Fame. But, for me, it's just a waiting process. I'm praying that happens sooner rather than later. But I've also watched Drew Pearson. I've watched Cliff Harris and so many others on other teams that were guys that definitely should be in the be in the Hall of Fame and just not get in. So it's been, it's been emotional at times, but at the same time, look, I have, my health, I have a beautiful family. And if it happens one day, then you'll be there, Keith, and I'll be emotional on the stage with the jacket and all. And that's how it will go down.
I don't want to say your life, because clearly your life is amazing and your life is complete, but is your journey complete if you don't make your way to Canton?
Look, my athletic journey would not be complete. And I'll just say that as far as my profession, the profession of being a football player, no, it would not be. That would be the bookend right there. Winning, being a Super Bowl, 3-time Super Bowl champion and making, Pro Bowls and all pros and all that individual accolades. Yeah, having great teammates along the way. But the bookend would be, the chapter would be closed by getting in the Hall of Fame. And it's always been a dream of mine since I was a kid. It was a dream of mine when I was a player, and it continues to be that today. So, I'm hoping that happens at some point.
I'm looking at the clock. I still got 4 minutes. Okay. So Darren, when I think about all the great Cowboys players that I've met, I can categorize them in terms of personalities, and all of you guys, for the most part, have gone on to be tremendously successful. You had a brilliant career on television. You chose to segue out of that, and a lot of your teammates have had brilliant careers in other sectors. But when I think about you, I just see this polished dude who's like polished on a level that some of the other guys just weren't polished. Well, I mean, were you that smooth as a player? Were you the smooth guy on the team?
No, I would not say. Hey, look, I think there's a part of it being a captain, and I was a captain for 11 of my 13 years. Being a captain, you have to be able to overcome the chaos. And there's times when everything is chaotic that you have to be level-headed and make some, instead of making emotional decisions, make logical decisions. And that's what I tried to do my entire time with the Cowboys. There were times that my own teammates saw me after a loss, and they'll tell you, anyone will tell you, I'm the worst loser in history. I cannot stand to lose games. And I don't care if it's games, if it's dominoes, checkers, whatever it is, I'm a sore loser. I'm sorry. It is what it is. But they've seen that side of me as well. And instead of being emotional in front of the media, my emotions would pour out in meetings where I had the team meeting, or as an individual meeting with individuals and telling them, hey, this is how we are, this is how you become a professional. This is what you have to do as far as film study. These are the mistakes we're making. I'd have those emotional conversations behind the scenes, but in front of the media, I try to just keep it, as we are a team. Let's stay hyper-focused as being a team. Let's not separate ourselves as individuals. And that's the part of what you saw, what you've seen all those years.
A couple last questions. Darren, what would you say to this Cowboys team? If you were playing on this Cowboys team, obviously you guys wouldn't be getting gashed for 300 yards rushing multiple times in the same year and having guys walk into the end zone and yelling to the camera, easy money.
Right.
What would you say to your guys?
Look, I tell them to be hyper-focused on what they're doing as professionals. And every day, show up early, stay late, and be available. I think the biggest thing right now with this team is that, yeah, it's demoralizing losing games the way they've lost games, but it's also a building and a learning process as well. And for those that are free agents or those that are on the bubble, every time they go out to practice, they're being watched and filmed. Every time they go out to a game, they're being watched and filmed. So you put out the best product, give all the effort and the ultimate effort that you can give for the next 4 or 5 weeks, however long that is, because you just never know who's watching and you don't know the circumstances that are going to take place next year. Put the best product out there and be prepared, period. if you're focused about your individual play, be so. If you're focused about the team play, then be so. But show up and be available each and every day.
And last question, Darren. I'm going to read this off my iPhone. This is something that you tweeted the other day, and I think this speaks to your character and everything that you're about. You said, ever heard coworkers so excited for hump day because it means the week is almost over? This is a terrible outlook. I want no part in wishing my days away. This year has reminded us our days are numbered. Today is all you have. Embrace it, enjoy it, make the most of it.
Yeah.
What inspired you,
Yeah.
besides maybe hearing someone complain, what inspired you to impart those thoughts?
Well, I'm a business owner, and I am a partner in a commercial real estate firm called ESRP, and I own a software company at the same time. So I'm dealing with a number of colleagues. I never say employees, they're colleagues of mine, because they run the show, basically. But at the same time, there's through COVID, there's just been a lot of uncertainties. One, people have been down and out, and I just feel like through this, there's still opportunity. And through the darkness, there are opportunities that you can take advantage of. And I said that day because I had long discussions with a couple of, both organizations, both of my companies. And I just wanted to highlight that to everyone, because there's a lot of people out there that are hurting through COVID. I've lost friends through COVID. I've seen families be torn apart and can't visit their family members that are on their dying bed. And I just wanted to tell them, hey, there's hope. There's opportunities out there, and you can still take advantage of those things and be aggressive. Live life every single day like it's your last day, and never take it for granted. So that was the message that day. I was feeling it. I was actually driving to work, and I was just formulating this message in my head, and I just stopped, and that tweet came out of my mouth, man. I just rattled it off and I sent it, and I didn't know where it was going, what the replies are going to be, but it is what it is.
Darren, you're a champion, man. Thanks for taking the time. Good luck with your venture and your partnership with Crown Royal, and good luck to your franchise and turning things around. Thanks for taking the time, man.
Keith, I appreciate it, man. Thanks for the friendship.
All right, I'll see you around, Darren.